Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So I've been busy with work and all my travels this summer. So I decided to take some time for myself and do something that I like, which is spending time out on the water. Today we're going to spend time at the Chino Lakes in Waupaca, Wisconsin, and we're going to attempt paddleboarding, and then we're going kayaking. And if you like what you see, or want to keep up with my future adventures, be sure to follow me on Instagram for more. Do you think I'm going to fall in? Have you been here before? Leave a comment below. So I've been coming to the Waupaca Chino Lakes for over 5 years now, even before I moved to Wisconsin. It's definitely one of my favorite areas in this beautiful state. The Chino Lakes is 22 spring-fed, interconnected lakes. It's actually the perfect place to go kayaking or paddleboarding. There are a few calmer lakes where you can easily take your kayak or paddleboard out and make a day of it in one of the most scenic places ever. I usually start off at Night Lake and then go through a bunch of the lakes. But first, we have to set up the paddleboard. Now, I bought this paddleboard on Amazon during Prime Day this year as a replacement for my old kayak that had a puncture in it that I could not patch. Before my thoughts on the paddleboard, if you want to buy one, there's an Amazon link in the description. And let me tell you, this thing was difficult to set up. It took forever to fill, and by the time I was finished, it had been 20 minutes or more. I did speed this up, and you can see that most of the time, most of it was spent filling the darn thing up. And no, you can't use an electric inflator, as this has its own proprietary end to inflate the paddleboard. You can see from both perspectives that I was just starting to get exhausted, and I haven't even gotten into the water yet. But besides taking a long time to fill, it feels like a strong board. When inflated, it almost feels like it's made of foam instead of vinyl. And it's not all that heavy. Also, I tried to make the best of it, but I just could not get the hang of it. I tried standing on the paddleboard multiple times, and I could not keep balance. And no, I didn't fall in. I almost did, and I honestly thought it would happen. So I decided to sit on it, and I kept having to shift my weight around a few times, and I did not feel stable on this thing at all. Honestly, I really tried to get a better shot, but all I got was me sitting and paddling the paddleboard. I then decided to cut my losses, and I texted my friend who lives in town and told her that her daughter has an early Christmas present. So what did I do? Well, I decided to look at Fleet Farm's inventory and see how much their cheapest inflatable kayak was. And the one that would meet my weight requirements and was a cheaper price was in Stevens Point, which is about 30 minutes away from Waupaca. Now, Waupaca does have their own Fleet Farm, but they did not have this particular kayak in stock. Also, you're probably wondering, why inflatable? Well, I live in an apartment, and I don't have the storage space for a normal kayak, which is why I go inflatable. So, have you ever been to a Fleet Farm or a Blaine's Farm and Fleet store before? If not, then you're in for a treat. Come with me to the Fleet Farm in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. If you're Canadian, then you're familiar with Canadian Tire. Fleet Farm and Blaine's Farm and Fleet are just like Canadian Tire, but both serve different regions of Wisconsin. They have automotive parts and service, tools, home goods, outdoor gear, farm supplies, and so much more. But we're here for a kayak. I'll take this yellow one, and just like that, we're going to head back to the Chino Lakes. Now that we're back at the parking lot, I'm going to get this set up. There really isn't much to it at all. The included inflator is so much easier to use than the one from the paddleboard. And another positive thing about this Intex kayak is that you can use an electric inflator if you want. But from personal experience, the manual pump is much faster. And I'm going to rush through this, and soon we'll be back in the water. And once again, there's another Amazon link if you're interested in this. Now this feels more familiar to me. Anyways, we're going to head back onto the water, and I'll show you some highlights from the Chino Lakes. And just for continuity's sake, I did do this video over again at a different date, mostly because by the time I had finished buying the kayak, it was getting later in the day and I just wanted to spend some time on the water. So I came back the next week and decided to do more with the kayak. Plus I got another camera and I got a couple different camera mounts to try out. So on the water, the kayak is a lot more smooth, and I definitely feel safer in this versus riding on top of the paddleboard. I could shift my weight around and I still stay in the kayak versus the paddleboard, where if you make one wrong move, you can fall off. Luckily, I did not fall off of either of them. Now, when you start heading towards Long and Columbia Lakes, you're going to have to watch out for motorized boats, and these boats create waves which look harmless to the normal person, but when you're in a kayak or on a paddleboard, can become quite hazardous. This time, I did not go towards Long or Columbia Lakes, mostly because it was supposed to start storming later in the day, and I did not want to get caught out in the rain. Anyways, as you can see, it's really beautiful out here. I try to get out here a couple times a summer, but since moving here, I've usually been busy working overtime at work, so I really haven't had the chance. So now that you've seen one of my favorite places in Wisconsin, what are some of your favorite places? Ever get out and spend a day kayaking? Tell me what you think. But that'll do it for today's video. And before we go, check out my reaction to seeing an otter in the water.
Uh-oh. Try not to hit the beaver. Or is that a... What is that? What is that? Oh, it's an otter.
And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.